Now that Peacemaker is here, James Gunn has presented some problems that are slightly annoying me. Yes, I hear some of you guys that are already screaming, fire James Gunn. I'm not going that far, but damn, a lot of this stuff is starting to irk my soul a little bit. I'm still holding out hope for the whole James Gunn universe just because this is still just the start. But Peacemaker brings up a major problem that needs to be addressed in the DCU immediately, and that's what we need to talk about in this video today. So far into watching Peacemaker episodes 1 and 2, we've been introduced to a handful of characters, a few new characters, we got one new baddie.
Bordeaux.
Sir.
I want a surveillance unit.
Damn, she is fine. And then another Don Cheadle knockoff. I don't want to be disrespectful to my boy.
Nah, you were learning that. I had 2 hot bitches sucking my dick.
This feels so forced, bro. I've seen him in a few stuff. I can't remember his name, but he's giving me some heavy Don Cheadle vibes.
It's on you, so you can check, bet, or fold. Pick one and fucking do it. I see what's going on here.
So what's your preferred form of greeting? Handshake, fist bump, hug? You a huggery kind of mouse?
James Gunn definitely been to a few of them parties because we got a shorty with a built-in costume. We had the whole scene that has the internet all up in a tizzy. Whoa, I cannot show this on YouTube. I cannot show this on YouTube. We see Hawk Girl, Green Lantern, and it's looking like Lord Tech is very prominent in this universe. It looks like one of the cell phones is a Lord Tech phone that John Cena has, or that Peacemaker has. I see a lot of people comparing this show to Deadpool, and it's kind of bothering me a little bit because I'm like, why can't characters just be their own thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I see people trying to draw these comparisons, but there is an issue. Here's the issue. Here's one of the issues. A big thing that I'm noticing is an issue with this show is that it's very formulaic. From season 2, episode 1, I was able to already see what was going on, but basically what James Gunn does in his writing is that he'll present a new character, he'll have the character crack some jokes. In the middle of those jokes is a little bit of like exposition that kind of moves the story along. Here's an example right here where the scene starts and then he's gonna move the plot forward.
Yeah, we see it.
But then it's gonna follow with jokes and banter.
Yeah, me and Ginger Cool are on this shit.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sure.
Then it's gonna go back to moving the plot forward.
Bordeaux wants to know, are you going to that thing tonight? The thing with Smith.
Yeah, I know what she means. Yes. Why?
So after that, what do you think's gonna happen? More jokes and banter.
He says he'll be there with bells on.
He said he'll be there with bells on?
Well, I added the bells part. Sounded more poetic.
Okay.
And this is the formula I'm referring to. So let's play a quick game. What do you guys think is going to come next? After writing jokes and banter, what will James Gunn do next? Will he write more jokes? Add a needle drop? Insert another niche character? Or move the story along?
Flag things, we should keep economists in the cold on this.
Okay.
If you guessed move the story along based on the formula, you are correct. Because I see it coming, it's not as fun. And then he's gonna go off into like his Tarantino-esque writing.
They call it Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
Dude, I'm like Rain Man, but with owls.
Okay, Rain Man, here's one. Are owls' eyes orbs or tubes?
Orbs.
Nope, they're tubes.
Fuck off. How can they be tubes?
Season 1, we didn't know what to expect. Like, this was James Gunn on a loose. He got to do whatever he wanted to do. But since I already watched season 1, I kind of already feel like I know what to expect from Gunn with season 2. Not story-wise, but I'm talking about when we're writing the banter, right? So, for example, in season 2, episode 2, I'm like, is this gonna be a gag? All right, this is gonna be a gag where he's just gonna keep falling out. Yes, we're gonna play this as a gag. And I'm like, he's also going to scream out, fuck. And what does he do? And then he's gonna go, motherfuck. I don't like how predictable this is. Please don't say motherfuck. Fuck! He does it. So I think that's one of the issues that I'm having. It's not just the jokes. It's the fact that the jokes are formulaic. And I think the reason why this happened is because Actually, that touches up on a point I'm going to get to a little bit later. So hang tight, because I think I know why this feels a little bit more formulaic than a lot of his other stuff, because Creature Commandos also had the same issue, and I promise I'm going to link together what that issue is soon. Another thing that kind of takes me out of this show is the freaking music, like the needle drops.
Pay me all your dirty money.
I don't want this episode to seem like I'm complaining, because there are genuinely a lot of things that I like about this show that I'm going to get to, but I want to get this stuff out the way first. These are all things that I think people talk about often when it comes to James Gunn. And it's not that I'm just now noticing it, but it's just happening so much right now in Peacemaker. Oh my gosh. And one thing happens, some jokes happen, and the needle drop. Slow-mo. And it's like, oh my gosh, dude, just give me what I came here for, which is the drama. John Cena is a great actor, bro. Like, John Cena and just Peacemaker as a character has grown so much. One thing that I love watching this show is how intuitive Peacemaker is becoming. Like, he's so in tune with his emotions. When he notices his friends are a little bit off, he'll call it out. There's a moment in episode 2 where he's like talking to Hardcore, and it's like, it's not even like he's just trying to crack. Like, he's talking to her as a friend, like, yo, this is what I'm noticing. And it's because he notices it in himself, and he's trying to help her. The whole scene that everyone's in a tizzy about, like, it's on brand with the character, where it's like he almost regresses a little bit. He takes one step forward and he takes like 20 steps back with that whole scene, right? A lot of people are saying, yo, kids are gonna be watching this show because of cameos and da-da-da-da. Bro, what are we talking about? Like, I'm not gonna let my kid watch Game of Thrones in the same way that I'm not about to let my kid watch Peacemaker. I think specifically with that one scene in episode 1, it works because that's just his character. And it lets us know that, yes, while this is a shared universe, we're telling our own pocket stories. I remember he mentioned that this is going to be more like Star Wars and not MCU. And from what I take from that, when James Gunn says that, is that we could tell stories within the same universe, but they could be somewhere completely different. And I like this because it took a while for Star Wars to actually like get in their bag and give us like a more adult themed show, which is Andor. A lot of y'all have told me to buckle down and watch Andor. I've gotten through a few episodes. That's a whole other topic, but that's one thing that I realized drove me towards Andor, that these characters are not just black and white like the other Star Wars stuff. They're very gray. I just love the growth of Peacemaker as a character, and I'm very interested to see how they take this whole multiverse storyline. I was very tempted to write an episode titled something along the lines of, what would you do if things were different? And I might still do it, but I like the idea of using the multiverse as a case study of what life could have been, in a very similar sense to Across the Spider-Verse and movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once. In us wrestling with these different characters, these different scenarios, I don't know, for me it kind of makes me think about myself, like, yo, where would I be had I took different steps? I'm very excited to see how this season goes, but that brings me to the problem overarching that I think we're starting to see with the DCU early. And that's this. Remember when I told you that the jokes are very formulaic? I also noticed a formula when it came to Creature Commandos. Now, you don't need to watch Creature Commandos. I personally thought that that was a very fun show. It expanded upon the world. I think that was a great primer for Superman. But when you're watching the show, that also took on a formula where it was like, all right, there wasn't that many episodes, and so you kind of expect every episode to follow one character in particular, and it's going to start off with flashback, then give us current day, and then go into the next character with a flashback or something, right? Very formulaic. Then you get into Peacemaker, and the whole thing is joke, exposition, more jokes, onto what the story is going to be about. And I think it's just starting to get annoying because James Gunn, he tries too hard to be edgy. I think that's my biggest problem like with the whole James Gunn DCU stuff. I think his strong point is the drama, which is why I was a little disappointed in Superman. And I think the problem is that this is it. This is the problem. James Gunn has given us too much of him within a 12-month period. I want you to think about it. Within 12 months, we bounced from Creature Commandos to Superman to now Peacemaker. We have not escaped James Gunn since the year started. And so now we're starting to really feel like, all right, bro, this dude is kind of getting annoying, as opposed to if these projects were a little bit more spread out. Now, granted, this is just the start of the DCU, so it's not something that's bothering me. I think that in like 5 years, right, we won't really be thinking about, oh yeah, he gave us like these 3 projects in the beginning, because I think the flagship projects are going to be what really keeps those threads together. I think all I'm simply saying is that I want so badly, like desperately, for us to get DCU content that doesn't have James Gunn written all over it. That's it. That's all I ask. I want James Gunn to come back to us in about 3 to 5 years, maybe for the next Superman film. But like, I want my Supergirl. If there's a way that we could fast track Wonder Woman or Batman, or, I mean, we have Green Lantern, right? So that's going to be one of our main Justice League members. I guess I'm just being impatient, but we're seeing too much James Gunn way too fast. And so it's making it feel like he's overwhelming us. So while I am enjoying Peacemaker and I'm looking forward to the drama, it's just how formulaic it is. I think the reason why it's so formulaic is because for James Gunn to have focused on Superman while also writing Creature Commandos and Peacemaker, I haven't heard anyone mention this, but there's a possibility that he spread himself way too thin. And contrary to popular belief, I don't know why people are saying James Gunn is not talented and calling him a hack. I think James Gunn is a good director. I think he's a good writer. He just adds too much salt to his pasta. That's the problem. If he could take a little bit some of that out, you get what I'm saying? We're dealing with some high-grade pasta here. I know that that analogy had to have made sense to somebody, but it's like, he's a good cook though. I mean, yeah, you could argue, well, if you're a good cook, then you know not to add too much salt and da-da-da-da-da. I think James Gunn has the same problem that Zack Snyder was having, which is these dudes are great if you could put them on a leash, bro. You can't give James Gunn or Zack Snyder too much power. Because Zack Snyder, I'm not trying to turn this into a Zack Snyder conversation. I love Zack Snyder, but his problem, if he's not on a leash, if he's not tag teaming with somebody, he's gonna do the most. You might even forget the plot, but you know the visuals is gonna be fire. James Gunn, you give him too much control, he gonna have his whole family in the project. You know what I'm saying? Like, his wife is still in it. His brother played Calendar Man and now he's Maxwell Lord. Like, what are we doing here? So at the end of the day, we got to find a way to put James Gunn on a leash a little bit, because I think he's very talented. I think he's a great writer and director, but I just want to see a different tone, a different voice. I can't wait to see the next Batman. Oh my goodness. You know, the more I think about it, I don't think James Gunn was the best director for Superman. I don't know. The person that comes to mind for a Superman movie is someone like Brad Bird. I don't know why. You couldn't tell me why, but my gut just says, let's say James Gunn wrote it with Brad Bird. Now we're talking about something different. But hey, look, what do you guys think about Peacemaker so far? Let me know down in the comment section below. Are you enjoying it? And I'll see you in the next encounter.